Hi everyone, welcome back to i-TUTOR IAS Academy Tamil Nadu History NCERT series. Today we are discussing Unit 6, that is Dalhousie, next Governor General of India. And Dalhousie's time period is 1848 to 1856. It was a transformative time at controversial Governor General of India, known for expanding British territory through aggressive policies like doctrine of lapse, which annexed the states without a direct hire, and for initiating India's modernization with railways, telegraph, and postal services. But his forceful rule fueled resentment, contribution to revolt of 1857 revolt, and his legacy is dual, the maker of modern India actually, for infrastructure, and the architect of discontent for his annexation like Awadh. Okay, so he's actually a maker of modern India, Dalhousie. And his tenure, key aspects are doctrine of lapse, annexation of oath, and modernization and infrastructure like a railway, telegram, postal, public work, and education and social reform like that. And to consolidate and strengthen British power in India through direct control and modern administration, viewing it as essential for economic and political stability. And while he built significant infrastructure and streamlined administration, his aggressive annexation policies and authoritarian style created deep seated resentment, making him a key figure blamed for the widespread discontent leading to the Indian Revolt of 1857. So, that revolt we will discuss further. And so, this is the basic of Lord Dalhousie, and further we will discuss one by one. And Lord Dalhousie was the youngest Governor General of India when he assumed charge at the age of 36 in 1848. And his early career was remarkable, and he studied in Christchurch, Oxford, and he became Member of Parliament and enjoyed the confidence of Sir Robert Peel, the Prime Minister of England, and he did much for the progress of railway construction in England as the President of the Board of Trade. And in 1847, he was offered the Governor Generalship of India, which he accepted, and arrived at Calcutta in January 1848. Okay. So, in this chapter, we will discuss policy of annexation, Dalhousie's policy of annexation, and annexation of Punjab and Lower Burma, and the doctrine of lapse and its application to Indian states, and annexation of oath on the pretext of misrule, Dalhousie's domestic reforms, including the introduction of railway and telegraph, and his educational and other reforms we will discuss in this unit. Okay. So, first of all, we will discuss policy of annexation. The most important aspect of Dalhousie's administration is related to the great drama of annexation, and his aims for expanding the company's territory were administrative, imperial, commercial, and financial. Although he used different reasons for annexation, his main objective was to end misrule in the annexed states, and as in the case of the annexation of Oath, and he aimed at providing the beneficent administration to the people of the annexed states. At the same time, he had in his mind the advantages of annexation to the British, such as imperial defense, commercial, and financial benefits. Though Dalhousie did not come to India to follow a policy of annexation, but he was able to consolidate British rule in India by his policy of annexation, and his great annexation include the Punjab, Lower Burma, most of the central provinces, and Oath. And annexation of Punjab, at the end of the Second Anglo-Sikh War in 1849, the Punjab was annexed by Dalhousie, and he uh, organized the administration of Punjab very efficiently, and the province was divided into small district under the control of district officers who were called deputy commissioners. And these commissioners, with the help of their assistant, came into close contact with the people, and revenue and judicial departments were combined to secure concentration of power and responsibility. And the law and procedure were simplified in accordance with the customs of the people, and the overall administration of Punjab was entrusted to the chief commissioner. In fact, the governor general was the virtual ruler of Punjab, and the service of Lawrence brothers in the administration of Punjab were notable. Within 3 years, perfect order was restored in the province, and it was efficiently defended from internal and external enemies. And in 1859, Sir John Lawrence became the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab. Okay. And Second Burmese War and annexation of Lower Burma. In 1852, the commercial air dispute in Rangoon prompted new hostilities between the British and Burmese. And after the end of the Second Burmese War, that is on 1852, Second Burmese War, and Dalhousie annexed Lower Burma with its capital at Pegu, and Major Arthur Prayer was appointed the commissioner of the new province, and his administration also proved to be efficient. And the annexation of Lower Burma proved beneficial to Britain, and Rangoon, that is Britain's most valuable acquisition from the war, became one of the biggest ports in Asia. And doctrine of lapse, the Dalhousie also took advantage of every opportunity to acquire territory by peaceful means. Okay, and the East India Company was rapidly becoming the predominant power in India, and it had concluded alliance with the Indian rulers. It promised to support them and their heirs in return for various concessions. And although this type of agreement favored the British, and Dalhousie sought to acquire even more power, and according to the Hindu law, one can adopt a son in case of no male heir to inherit the property, and the acquisition arose whether a Hindu rule holding his state subordinate to the paramount power and could adopt a son to succeed his kingdom. And it was customary for a ruler without a natural heir to ask the British government whether he could adopt a son to succeed him. And according to Dalhousie, if such permission was refused by the British, and the state would lapse, okay, and thereby become part of the British India. So that's why the doctrine of lapse. And Dalhousie maintained that there was a difference in principle between the right to inherit private property and the right to govern, and this principle was called doctrine of lapse. Okay, so it's a little bit important, you just try to understand. And the doctrine of lapse was applied by Dalhousie to Satara, and it was annexed in 1848. Jhansi and Nagpur were annexed in 1854, and as a result of this annexation, a large part of the central provinces came under the British rule, and the new province was governed by the chief commissioner from 1861. Although the doctrine of lapse cannot be regarded as illegal, and its application by Dalhousie was disliked by Indian princes, and the advantage of annexation of Satara, Jhansi, and Nagpur were substantial to the British. And Dalhousie was blamed for using the doctrine of lapse as an instrument in pursuing his policy of annexation. And after the mutiny of 1857, the doctrine of lapse was withdrawn. Okay, and later during the mutiny of 1857, Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi played an important role in fighting against the British, because Jhansi are under British India. So that's why the Lakshmi Bai fighted for them after the mutiny of 1857. Okay, so next is annexation of Oath. The British relation with the state of Oath go back to the Treaty of Allahabad, and in that is a Treaty of Allahabad in 1765. And right from the Warren Hastings, many Governor General advised the Nawab of Oudh to improve the administration. But misrule continued there, and the Nawab was under the assumption that the British would not annex Oudh because of his loyalty to them. And in 1851, William Sleeman, resident at Lucknow, reported on the spectacle of human misery and careless misrule, but Sleeman was against the policy of annexing Oudh. After surveying the situation in Oudh, Dalhousie annexed in 1856, and Nawab Wajid Ali was granted a pension of 12 lakhs of rupees per year, and the annexed territory came under the control of Chief Commissioner. And Dalhousie's annexation of Oudh, the last one among his annexations, created great political danger. And the annexation offended the Muslim elite, and more dangerous was the effect on the British Army's Indian troops, many of whom came from Oudh, and they had occupied a privileged position before its annexation. And under the British government, they were treated as equals with the rest of the population, and this is a loss of prestige for them. And in this various ways, the annexation of Oath contributed to mutiny of 1857. And domestic reforms of Dalhousie. Dalhousie's territorial acquisition transformed the map of India. He was not only a conqueror but also a great administrator, and the appointment of Lieutenant Governor General to Bengal enabled Dalhousie concentrate on administration. And his greatest achievement was the molding of the new provinces into the modern centralized state. And for the newly acquired territories, he introduced the centralized control called non-regulation system. Okay. Under this system, a commissioner was appointed for newly acquired territory. And under military reform, Dalhousie shifted the headquarters of Bengal artillery from Calcutta to Meerut, and Shimla was made the permanent headquarters of the army. Okay, so that is the domestic reforms of Dalhousie. And railway. The introduction of railway in India inaugurated a new economic era, and there was three major reasons for the British to take interest in its quick development. The first reason was commercial, and the second main reason was administrative, and the third reason was defense. Okay, so three reasons are mainly there. One is commercial, one is administrative, and next is defense for the railway. And the time of revolt and disturbance movement of the force was much easier through railways, and Dalhousie's contribution in the development of railway is worth commenting. And in 1853, he penned his railway minute formulating the future policy of railways in India, and he started the guarantee system by which the railway companies were guaranteed a minimum interest of 5% on their investment, and the government retained the right of buying the railway at the end of the period of contract. And the first railway line connecting Bombay with Thane was opened in 1853, and the railway line connecting from Calcutta to Raniganj coalfield was opened in 1854. Okay, so that is the history of Indian railway. And from Madras to Arakonam in 1856. First one is 1853, second is Calcutta to Raniganj in 1854, and third in southern India, that is on Madras to Arakonam in 1856. Okay, so the first railway in the world was opened in 1825 in England. Okay, so please add that point also. And next is telegraph. Similarly, the use of telegraph brought marvelous change in communication system, and in India, Lord Dalhousie contribution in this respect is commendable. In 1852, Shognes was appointed the superintendent of telegraph department, and main cities of the country were Calcutta, Peshawar, Bombay, Madras were telegraphically connected. About 4,000 miles long telegraph line were laid before the departure of Dalhousie. And during the 1857 revolt, the system of telegraphic communication proved a boon for the English, and the military value of Dalhousie's creation was much realized that time. Okay, and postal reform also done by him. And The postal reform, the foundation of modern postal system was laid down by Lord Dalhousie. And a new post office act was passed in 1854. Consequently, irrespective of the distance over which the letter was sent, a uniform rate of half an anna per postcard was charged throughout India. And postage stamp were introduced for the first time. Okay, Dalhousie's time, the postal stamps introduced first time. And education, Dalhousie had also convinced in the development of education. The educational dispatch of Sir Charles Wood, that is on 1854, was consolidated the intellectual charter of India, and it provide an outline for the comprehensive scheme of education at the primary, secondary, and collegiate level. Okay, and Dalhousie fully accepted the view of Charles Wood and took step to carry out a new scheme. And department of public instructions were organized, and the universities of Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras were found in 1857. And public work department, PWD, before the period of Dalhousie, the job of the public work department was done by the military board, and Dalhousie created a separate public work department. That is nowadays PWD is there, and allotted more fund for cutting canals and roads. And the Upper Ganges Canal was completed in 1854, and many bridges were constructed. By modernizing the public work department, he laid the foundation of the engineering service. Okay, nowadays engineering service are there, so these are the introduction by Dalhousie. Okay, and the total estimate of Dalhousie's time period is Dalhousie, he left India in 1856, and the outbreak of mutiny in the following year led to severe criticism of his policy of annexation, and exhausted by his year of overwork in India, and he fell ill and died in 1860. And there is no doubt that Dalhousie was an able administrator and visionary. He increased the extent of British India and consolidated it. And he inaugurated an era of progress on many sides. And he was the father of railway and telegraph. And he introduced the process of modernization of India. And hence he is hailed as the maker of modern India. Okay, so actually, as a governor general, he is the one last, and after that, the era of viceroys started, and the first viceroy was Lord Canning. After this, so so far we discussed Warren Hastings as a governor general. Time period is 1773 and 1784. The major act events are, and please refer that videos also, and regulating act, Pitt's India Act, Rohilla War, First Maratha War, and Second Mysore War. These are the contribution and major act of Warren Hastings. And Lord Cornwallis was there, 1786 to 1793. Third Mysore War, Cornwallis Code, permanent settlement are the major acts of Lord Cornwallis. And Lord Wellesley, 1798 to 1805. And subsidiary alliance, fourth Mysore War and second Maratha War also. And Lord Minto, 1807 to 1830, Treaty of Amritsar, 1809. And Lord Hastings, 1813 to 23. And Anglo-Nepal War, third Maratha War and Rayatwari system. And Lord Amherst is the 1823 to 28, the first Burmese War. Lord William Bentinck, 1828 to 1835, abolition of Sati and Charter Act of 1833. And Lord Auckland, 1836 to 1842 is the time period, and the first Afghan War. And Lord Harding won before Dalhousie. These are the general governor generals of just short period of time. So 1844 to 48, first Anglo-Sikh War and social reforms. Lord Dalhousie is the last governor general, and after that the viceroy's era started, and also the 1857 mutiny also started. And 1848 to 1856, and doctrine of lapse, railway, Wood's dispatch, and PWD, like that, they are the major acts of Dalhousie. So far now we discussed that. And the governor general of India was the head of the British administration in India from 1773, that is the time period of Warren Hastings, 1773 to Actually, 1915, in after mutiny, the viceroys was started. Okay, transition from commercial regulator to a imperial ruler, and key figures include Warren Hastings, first Governor General of Bengal, and Lord Bentinck, first British India. First of British Indian Governor General, and Lord Dalhousie, expansionist. So he's the expansionist of modern India, and Lord Canning, first Viceroy is the Lord Canning. Okay, so in Bengal, Governor General of Bengal 1773 to 1833 are Warren Hastings, Lord Cornwallis, Sir John Shore, and Lord Wellesley, Lord Minto, and Lord Hastings, Lord Amherst are the Governor General of Bengal. So please, focus on the differences. That is the Governor General of Bengal. And after that, Governor General of India, that is Lord William Bentinck, Sir Charles Metcalfe, and Lord Auckland. After 1833 to 1858, the time period of Governor General of India, not Bengal. Okay, and Lord Ellenborough and Lord Harding one Dalhousie, Lord Canning are the after revolt Governor General during the 1857. That time revolt was there. That time the Governor General was Lord Canning, and became the first viceroy after the crown took control, because after the mutiny, crown took the control over India, and that time the viceroy appointed as a viceroy Lord Canning. Okay, so that's the difference there. And viceroy or post 1858 transformation, the after 1858 the Governor General became the viceroy representing the crown, including Lord Curzon and Lord Mountbatten. And after that, C. Rajagopalachari, the first and the last Indian Governor General, C. Rajagopalachari. The time period is 1948 to 1950. Okay, so actually, that is overall the British and East India Company's rule in India. Okay, and hope you understand. And in between any doubts, you can contact us anytime, and please refer all these six chapters for the Governor General's time period and their contributions. And In this chapter, so far we discussed about Dalhousie policy of annexation of state like Oudh was aimed at providing beneficent rule to Indian states, and his annexation of Punjab, Lower Burma, and most of the central India was nothing but expansion of British imperialism. And the doctrine of lapse was a tool in the hand of Dalhousie for his policy of annexation. Dalhousie remained a progressive reformer by introducing modern method of communication such as railway and telegraph and PWD. And student can give an imperial estimate of Dalhousie. Okay, so this is about all about Governor General and East India Company. And in this chapter, for more videos, you just do like, share, and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.